Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Living in Fullness podcast. I am your host, Nakihlo Muteto. And as we are nearing year end, I know the energy levels are very low. So are mine, but I'm here today and I'm excited to do this episode with you. And no, I do not have a guest. It's just me, myself and I, and yourself. So thank you for being here. If it's your first time here, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so that whenever these amazing episodes come up, you get to be notified. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's always happy to have you as part of this amazing family. And thank you for always supporting. Need I say that we are on 5,000 subscribers, guys? I can't contain myself because you guys are really amazing. You've been showing so much support, and as I always say, I don't see them as subscribers. I see them as 5,000 people that believe in what we're doing and that are supporting this beautiful podcast. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and share with everybody that you love. So I know we've been giving you episodes that are really corporate career related, professional episodes, which is not necessarily something you probably might be used to. But I also want to say that as Living in Fullness, we believe in holistic growth, and holistic growth includes growing in your careers. So that's why we bring you episodes that don't only touch relationships, marriage. We're also bringing you episodes that speak into the financial bit of it because we need it, right? We are in a world that needs us to live by having financial means, right? So I'm really excited to be here. Today, I wanted us to speak more on just gratitude, right? The year is ending, and most times when the year is ending, it really gets to a point where you ask yourself, what have I really achieved? For some people, this could be birthdays, this could be triggered by birthdays, or it could be triggered by anniversaries, whatever it is that triggers the question, what have I really achieved? And I think the year ending is part of those triggers that sometimes trigger the question, what have I really achieved? What have I done well this year? These were my goals that I set out. Have I really achieved them or have I not? And just sort of even try to score yourself to see where you're at. I want to share something that has been a powerful realization for myself in my own life. So I'm not sharing from a place of motivation. I'm sharing from a place of experience, and how I've seen gratitude be very powerful in us being successful, or at least getting to a point where we're very content, right, with where we're at. One thing that we do as people and where we find ourselves is being in a place where we're constantly asking God, right? If you're a Christian, you're constantly asking God, can I please have this? I need this to happen in my life. Why is this not happening in my life? Why do I see this happening for this person and not necessarily for me? Those are some questions that we start asking ourselves, or asking God, right? And I want us to focus more on how well we've done this year. To just sit down and ask yourself, how well you've done. What are some things that you can actually clap for yourself? What are some things that you can look at and say, yeah, maybe I didn't really even set plans, because there's certain goals that you didn't really have them as goals, but you ended up achieving something you didn't even know that you need. Because one thing for sure is there's certain things that we think we need and they're not really a necessity. And there's certain things we're not aware that we actually need until we have them. So sometimes sit down and ask yourself, what have I really done well? What have I achieved? Let's not focus on the issues, but let's also focus on the beautiful achievements that we've had. So this cycle of being in a place where we're constantly asking, where we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, robs us of peace, right? It robs us of all the beautiful things that have been handed over to us. And sometimes you can end up overlooking those little milestones or those success stories that you've had in your year. Okay, so what does gratitude do? Why do we need to be grateful? Why do we need to always see things from, there's the analogy where people say, if you're going to look at a glass, Do you look at it as if it's half full? Do you look at it as if it's half empty? And I think that perspective speaks into gratitude. Sometimes we don't take time to actually look at those little things. We look more at what we don't have and rather disregard what we have, because as I think human beings, sometimes we're naturally selfish. We want more, so we constantly seeking, rather than we actually in a place of being still and content. Okay, so gratitude for me has a way of shifting my focus from a space of lack to abundance, right? So when I take time to really appreciate some of the things that I've achieved, when I take time to take stock of some of the things that I've achieved, it just gives me this deep sense of contentment. It allows me to experience peace, right? So it doesn't mean that we stop dreaming. It doesn't mean that we stop working, but it just helps us to celebrate the journey rather than always trying to feel like we're constantly chasing something, rather than always trying to feel like there's something that you just don't have. And it just leaves you in a place where you're always empty and feeling like you're not doing enough. And then I think that's actually what's driving us as people to be in this society where we're constantly working. It's because there's this thing that we're all chasing that we're clearly not getting to. So when you don't get to a place where sometimes you just rest, you will constantly chase. And I always say that if you do not allow your body to rest, it will tell you when to rest. And I feel I'm preaching to myself right now, because sometimes I struggle with rest. I'll tell myself that this weekend I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And then I find myself still chasing. And that's the society that we live in now. We are being praised for being busy, rather than being productive, which is really not something to be commended for. I think if being busy leads to productivity, that's perfect. And if being busy is not the constant in your life, it's also great. If being busy means I have seasons, right? I have seasons where I'm quite busy, I've got no time for anything else, then that's fine, right? So let's learn to celebrate those small wins. Let's learn to celebrate those little tasks, because when you look at it, celebrating those small wins is very essential, because they're building blocks to those larger achievements that you have. Because we just look at this, we're looking at the bigger picture and we're seeing where we want to be, and we're not focusing on there's actually milestones that you have had to go through for you to get that large thing. So you need to also celebrate those little milestones, because that's what keeps you encouraged. That's what keeps you going. So how often do you actually pause to just celebrate those small wins? How often do you actually pause and say, Naki, you did really well. You did really well. Yes, it wasn't what you expected. Yes, it wasn't as big. Yes, it's probably not what society considers to be a huge achievement, but you did it anyway. And you did it so well. How often do you actually pause and say that to yourself? Because generally, we only pause to celebrate when we reach large milestones, but those big achievements are actually made up of small little wins, right? So take time to just look at all the goals that you've set. And even if it's those little milestones towards a goal that you didn't achieve, you still did something, and you need to applaud yourself for it. Every task for me, every skill, every task that I complete, every skill that I've developed, every small goal that I've reached, for me is part of growth, right? I might not have gotten to a point where I really wanted to get to, but I still took the first step. And that's what I'm clapping myself for. That's what I'm clapping for myself, right? For, because I actually did it. I didn't get to where I wanted to get to. I didn't get the results I was expecting, but it still taught me something, because it's in those little failures, as we might want to call them, that you get to develop, that you get to learn, right? That you get to actually identify, why is it that I didn't achieve the goals that I wanted? What skills am I lacking? What didn't I really do? Did I not research enough? Did I not put in enough time? And just ask yourself those questions, because we love sometimes to sit in that little pity party and just say, I didn't achieve it. Why didn't I? Why is it works for others, it doesn't work for me? And when you sit in that pity party, there's no growth there. So there are times where you have to wear your big girl pants on and say to yourself, you didn't achieve it because you didn't do this. Learn from it so that you don't do it again. Celebrate the journey as well, not just the destination. I think we need to take time to actually be okay with the process and not be so obsessed with what the destination looks like. And I really believe that, yes, as the year is ending, we're going to ask ourselves, what did I do well? What didn't I do well? But I believe so much in growth, even in times that things don't seem to be working, even in times that I didn't probably put in 100%. I will learn that next time I need to put in a bit more work for me to get those results that I really want, and to get out of the pity party and be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I need to improve for me to do better next time? So yeah, next year is coming. 2025 is coming. Set realistic goals. Learn from your previous mistakes. Know what is it that you can't do, and what is it that you've been gifted at, what is it that you haven't really been gifted at, that maybe you can develop a skill for. And surround yourself with positively minded people that will remind you that you're doing well, but not just that, people that will push you to want to do well. And that's one thing that I have learned in my life. When you surround yourself with you're only as good as the people that surround you. That's one thing that I've learned. You're only as good as the people that speak into your life. You're only as good as how you view yourself. You're only as good as what you speak over your life. So it's very important to guard your ears, guard your mind, guard your heart, guard your surroundings, and also guard your mouth. Right? So be careful of what you say over yourself and be positive. Try to have that little energy as the year is ending. And yes, so thank you so much for staying with Living in Fullness, and thank you for subscribing, for liking, for sharing, for being the amazing subscribers that you've been. I really do feel your support, and I'm really grateful for it. I hope this has helped you to end the year well and start 2025 with a bang. See you in the next episode.